ImageLine just leaked their brand new plugin on their Instagram, and today I'm gonna go over it because it is going to be the #1 plugin for industry producers in 2023. I can guarantee that. I'm gonna show you how to use it right now. So today I'm gonna be giving you full access to the new Multiband Delay. I'll show you 3 of my favorite new presets that I created inside of Multiband Delay, and this is also gonna allow you to understand the plugin. Speaking of that, make sure you save this video and come back to it when the final version of FL21 releases, hopefully at the top of the new year. Multiband Delay splits the signal of your sound into 16 frequency bands. It's almost like a EQ but for delay, so very similar to being able to move these up and down. You can do the same thing in here with the frequencies, but you're actually turning up the volume of the delay. Today I'm using SCORCH, and I just created this melody, so this is what it sounds like dry. And here's what it sounds like with Multiband Delay just affecting these 2 frequencies. It's almost like an underwater halftime. That's why I call this preset Noah 40 Water. So if you want to get rid of the low end frequencies and the high end frequencies and recreate what I've done here, all you need to do is go up top here, select these, and they are going to now be muted. So now we are just affecting these 2 frequencies. So one of the things that's really cool is this scale knob. The scale knob is a multiplier for the individual band delay time, and it almost acts as a forward and a reverse. So just take a listen to this. I will unmute the rest of these delays so we can hear the full thing, and just take a listen to when I turn this backwards, how it sounds like it's going to go into reverse. I love the way this knob sounds, and it reminds me a lot of the blooper. And so what you could actually do is you could create an automation. So we'll right click, create automation. Now that we have an automation here, what you could do for the last 2 bars here is you could actually turn this so now it's going to go into reverse for the end of this loop, and this would segue into your B section. But just take a listen to how this sounds. As I mentioned, the Multiband Delay splits the signal of your sound into 16 frequency bands, but it's not just for the delay, it's also for panning and volume. So here is another SCORCH melody dry. Take a listen to this. For this example, I'm going to be using the custom bass that comes with SCORCH. Anytime you open a preset and you go below C2, you will have a customized bass that you can use in these low notes that normally you wouldn't ever use. Well, it's a perfect bass here. The reason I'm bringing that up is because we can now go into the delay, and if we don't want to muddy up the bass, what I would suggest we do is we mute the low end. This way, the delay is not going to be affecting the bass. As I mentioned, you can actually pan each of the 16 frequencies. So for instance, we're not going to be using the low end, so I could get rid of those if I wanted. But for these mid-range and the high end, what I could actually do is I could pan these from left and right. So now when we take a listen to SCORCH, it's going to be panning each of these frequencies separately from left to right, which is going to give a massive spread. The other thing you could do, which is really cool, is you come down to this drop down, you hit random curve, and it is going to create a bunch of different options for you. A really cool trick that you could do is you could keep the panning of the middle sounds the same, and then for these high sounds you could go across the stereo spectrum from left to right. So now you have these delays that are happening in the center, but you also have these high-end delays that are panned. And then if there's any sound in here that's a little too sharp, you can actually turn down the individual volume of that frequency, and you can actually get rid of it. And lastly, what you could do is you could right-click, and you could actually create an automation, and you could have this moving from left and right. You could have all these moving from left and right, so you're getting this kind of sweeping effect that's going like this as you are playing your sounds and your samples. So I created this next progression with SCORCH's built-in chord generator. And by the way, if you don't know about SCORCH, it is currently on sale, so you definitely got to go check it out. We worked with the best sample makers and rap producers in the industry to create SCORCH, which is a plugin specifically built for rap producers. It comes with a bunch of built-in effects, it comes with some amazing sounds, and like I just mentioned, the chord generator. So check it out. There'll be a link in the comment section below, and you guys can get $30 off of your purchase of SCORCH today. But let's go back into the Multiband Delay. Another cool feature of the multi-band delay is that it comes with 8 different bank presets. So as you can see, it is jumping around and this morph knob is moving. So these are internal presets inside of the preset. But what is really cool about this is you can actually blend these by turning up this morph knob. So what you could do is you could automate this morph knob and have these delays bouncing all around from the different times. But the same thing can also be happening with your pan. So what you could do is you could come into these individual banks and you could come down here and hit a random curve, and then as you start moving the morph, you are actually going to be blending the stereo field between these different bank presets. So this will be a very extreme example, but take a listen to this. Hear how it's blending and it's turning to the next preset. Now that might be a little bit extreme, but what is another cool trick that you could actually do is we could pick, let's say, bank number 1, and what we could do is we could turn up some of these delays, and what we're actually going to do is we're going to automate the delay. And the reason that we're going to automate the delay, I'll just show you here. I will solo this, so just take a listen to this for a second. What happens when you move the delay is you hear this cool little pitch happening. So what you could actually do is unmute all of these so that the delay is happening on all the frequencies, but just take a single frequency. You could right click, you could create an automation. I would go in here, and what I personally do would double click on this. I would hit the LFO. I would turn up my tension and my skew so it looks something more like that, and I believe I would lower the speed so it moves a bit more for like each bar. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, maybe turn that amount up so it's a little bit more chaotic. And then as you hit play on this, you're going to hear these little pitches happening, kind of like the therma pedal. So take a listen to this. So as you can see, these two frequencies are bouncing up and down and creating that pitching. So what I like about this is that it's adding that little bit of texture. Again, I could go back into the panning, I could turn this one to the left, I could turn this one to the right. And another thing we can do here is go into the volume and actually lower the volume. So for instance, if the pitch was a bit too extreme, we could lower the volume and turn down some of those pitches so they blend in nicely with our SCORCH chord progression. So that's just a really cool way to add some extra ear candy and textures without doing too much. The last few things I will say about this, there is 3 different types of filter. There is gentle, there is steep, and there is linear. I don't know the full difference here, but the linear to my ears sounds the best. There's the feedback knob here, so you can really crank that up if you want to get that Travis style effect. Again, we already went over the scale. That's kind of moving it in reverse. Smoothing is going to give you those inaccuracies of the pitch. If you don't like that, you can always hit this button and it will keep the pitch. I personally didn't hit it at all today because I like that. It reminds me a lot of the guitar pedals I use. We have morph here and we have mix, and at the end of the day, that is basically everything that you need to know to get started with multi-band delay when it drops in the new version of FL Studio 21, which is coming so soon. Speaking of the new FL, I recently released a tutorial. We will have it linked above or below or somewhere. You definitely want to check that out because in this tutorial, I reveal all of the new plugins and the new features inside of FL Studio before it drops so that you guys in advance can have all the information to just quickly get to producing when you open up the new FL 21. Also, make sure you go check out SCORCH. It is built for rap producers just like you. If you want to check it out, it is in the comment section below and you will save yourself $30. My name is Jacob, aka my best friend Jacob. I'm here for Sauceware Audio, and I will see you again next week.